Alright, YouTube, you lovely people. So this episode, we're going to hopefully be getting the rear beam off. That's probably about it, really. I think there's quite a few things left to do, and I think it could be a bit of a pain on my own to get that off. So yeah, stay tuned. So I've loosened the bolt that goes through the bush. That is a 19mm, if I read that correctly. Just loosened that. I went to do the bolt that goes underneath, that's at the bottom of the shock absorber. I thought, oh, I'll undo this nut. I thought, wow, that has been really rounded off. But yeah, you have to obviously undo it from the other side, because I guess that's just kind of welded in place. That one I used a breaker bar, seems to work right. And I used a breaker bar to get the shock absorber bolt going. Now I've just switched to a ratchet one. That one I gave a blast with the blowtorch. Didn't go too mad because there's rubber bits on the other side. And that one, obviously you can't get a blowtorch to that, otherwise you'll incinerate your car. Right, so we got that bolt out. Took forever. There's not a lot of room unless you, I don't know, remove the exhaust or have a longer extension. Would have been a lot easier if the bolt was this side, but there we are. So I've jacked up both sides of the beam. I suppose they're kind of in my head, that makes sense, because I haven't had a car with a rear beam before. So I want to take pressure off the off this bit to make it easier to unscrew or undo, because obviously the spring's going to be pushing down on it. So what else have I done? I've removed the plastic section that was here, and I've just sprayed a bit of lubricant on there and pulled the exhaust rubber mount off there. So I'm going to be, hopefully, if these little buggers undo, I'll hopefully be taking the back box off to give me more access to more of the underside for when I'm undersealing it. I'm just hoping like a impact driver or impact wrench will undo the bolts and the bottom side of these, because if I have to get something on those nuts, they're just completely corroded. They don't look like they're going to accept any kind of spanner or socket. So I'm hoping just the shock of an impact wrench from the underneath will undo those, but we'll see. I may have to end up cutting them off if they don't come off and getting some new ones. So I'll either do that next or go and do this on the other side of the car. So it looks like they both snapped. Oh, joy. I've got the exhaust free, or the back box. Let me have a look. Those are the bolts that snap, those are the bits that are left behind. So I've pinged off the rubber mounts, that's the rear right and on the rear left. And then there's two either side of the back box. Hopefully that light's a bit bright, hopefully you can, if I can get in from some angle. There's one of them, and the other one's on the other side. It's a bit of a pain trying to clear the bottom edge of that metal bit that the exhaust goes through, but got there in the end. I can't actually get it out properly at the moment. I'll have to wait until I drop the beam a bit, I think, to get that come out over the top of the beam. So I think I've made some good progress. I have to try and get rid of the old seized on bits there. Order some new bolts like these. With these jobs I probably spend 50% of my time actually doing work, and then 50% of the time looking for tools. absolute nightmare. I need to be more organised. Forever putting stuff down and just trying to find it again. So I tend to put things in little bags, like bolts and nuts, etc., little bits, just to label them, so it makes it a bit easier. Something else I also do, because I haven't got the best memory in the world, is I tend to write down things as I take them off. So I've done things before where I've started a job and then come back to it 6 months later. So yeah, without that kind of stuff written down, it would be absolutely useless trying to put it back together. Especially if you're working on stuff under the bonnet, it's just generally like an order to put things back. Whereas this kind of stuff is probably a bit more logical, but still can't hurt to write it all down. Right, so I'm starting with this handbrake bracket first, which on mine is a 12mm and a 15mm. So I'll whip that off and see which one comes off next. Right, first bracket off. I've got a feeling, I can't actually see because I'm a bit cramped at the moment, but what I thought was a nut on the other side, which I had the 15mm spanner on, I think that's possibly welded onto this part of the rear beam, so you might not need to put a spanner on that. I mean, I had it there anyway, so it can't hurt, but either it's seized on or it's welded on. We'll hopefully find out at some point. So the next one, I think, is, I can feel the bracket round here somewhere, so attack that one next. So seeing as my exhaust is disconnected, I'll just put a piece of wood on top of the beam just to lift it up, because I think the next bolt is there, so I need to come at it from here, maybe with a little extension, but I think the exhaust might have been in the way. So hopefully this will make it a little bit easier. So it's really cramped under here, so it's going to look a bit odd filming angles, but there we are. So this is the rear right of the car. I've just disconnected, so on mine it was a 12mm bolt there, which released the bracket for the handbrake. So you can see the hopefully you can see the handbrake then goes off towards the front of the car. So that's completely free on the rear right of the beam. Now if we switch over to the rear left of the car, so the handbrake on the rear left is connected via this bracket, which goes with my little finger. Let me just tuck that there. There's a hole there. I can't get my camera down low enough, which that goes through. I'd started off with a socket and just gave up in the end and just went for the old that gun. So I figured it's coming off anyway, so it doesn't matter if I snap the bolts or anything, because the beam's coming off. They actually came out, as you can see. There's one there which is for the handbrake, which is in one piece. Then right next to it, because you've got two holes down here in the underside of the beam, and the other one is for this. I haven't researched what it is yet, but it's some kind of, well, it almost looks like a tiny drop link, so I presume it's there to monitor what angle the beam is at as you're driving along. So I'm not really sure, I'll have to find out what that does. So that one's free. I think these were both 14mm, so yeah, 12s and 14s, so a bit different to what I'm used to. And the last bracket for the handbrake, so right at the top of the screen, I can't get my camera any better than that. So that one there, that was a 12mm bolt on mine, and that was the last bracket holding the handbrake cable on the rear left. So you can see, so that's completely free now of the beam as well. So I thought I'd better show tools and parts that I'm going to be using for this. So the biggest one is the new rear beam. come with bushes, unfortunately, because I'm poly bushing it, so I'll have to get these out. So yeah, nice and shiny. I should probably put an extra layer of paint on it because it's had a few knocks in the post. I snapped a couple of exhaust bolts, so I've got 2 spare ones there. I've got the kit for doing the rear calipers, so when I actually come to doing them, I'll show what's in there. As you can see there, I've got some brake caliper spray. It says black, but I thought I ordered some red. So I thought these, hopefully they fit. They're like female blanking nuts for, hopefully for the brake lines. So while all the stuff is off, it hopefully stop them leaking out. And I've also got myself some brake pipe spanners, kind of like open-ended spanners, but you can see there's a smaller gap, and you've got a few more sides to grip the bolt with. Got some Goodrich braided lines that I'm still waiting for as well, and some poly bushes to come. Got some rust remover, which I will be soaking bits in, any bits that I can get off. And then I've got some crust to treat the bits under the car I can't get off. And then I've got some underbody seal and some hammerite somewhere. Just going to try and keep the brake fluid topped up while I'm doing this, because I'm going to spill some, guaranteed. You can't really do it without spilling some, so I shall keep an eye on that. Try and at least keep the reservoir filled up. So it's been a bit of a mixed bag of wins and losses. Let me show you. So this is the end of the brake pipe that feeds the rear right. Where you undo it is just ripping it apart. I tried it with a 10mm brake pipe spanner. It didn't work. Tried a couple of like mole grips. Nothing. I think it's just too seized on. So I'm gonna have to leave this pipe. So I'll try and undo that one. If that doesn't undo, I'll leave it as well. So I'm gonna have to take it to a garage because I don't have the facilities to replace any of the piping. So yeah, that's a bit of a pain in the ass. And then over here, so I've undone, so 2 of the bolts came out for the bracket that holds the distribution block to the underside of the car. I'll try not to go underneath it because it's still dripping a bit. Anyway, while we're waiting for that to drip, there's 3 bolts that hold that bracket to the underside of the car. 2 came out, 1 came halfway out and then snapped. I'll have to tap a thread in the one that snapped. I cracked that brake pipe, which is the one that feeds the rear left, before I started undoing that bracket. It actually undid, which is nice. I was expecting that just to mash itself up like the other one. And I've just put that 10mm sort of female blanking cap. Just obviously needs to tighten it off a bit more because it's dripping. So that one I cracked as well, and that turned. So I should better undo that one to hopefully take this off the bracket. So I've had enough for today, so I shall try and take the beam out next time. Why did I start this? Why don't I just pay someone to do this? So what a roller coaster of a ride that was. It's to be expected though. I knew one of those brake pipe unions was going to be a pain in the ass. I had the same problem with the Beamer, but I managed to actually undo it with some mole grips. But this one, I don't think there's any chance. I think I'll have to take it to a garage so they can replace a bit of the pipe and the union. Hopefully I can get the rest of it off, and then it's not too bad then. So working on the car on a weekday. Yeah, this is a bit of a strange occurrence. I was just looking at my my hubs up there. Thought I might as well actually take the dust cover off. I might better de-rust it a bit easier. So I don't want to submerge this whole thing. Obviously there's a bearing in there and I don't want to get water in there and wreck that. If I can take the dust shield off for a start, then if I got a bucket big enough I can soak that and de-rust it. So what I've been doing, I've just undone 2 of them. Come off you little bugger. There we go. So I thought I'd done that one. Maybe I'm just going mad. As you can imagine, they're rusted to buggery. So yeah, you guys must have been giving me ratchet anxiety. So I know it was a bit of a two-handed job. I had to push really hard against it so I didn't rip the bolt apart. Probably a good idea to soak these in penetrant fluid. So I shall finish undoing them and then we'll have a little look at what we've got left. So that wasn't particularly successful. I should have really looked at it before I undid those 3 bolts, because there's no way of it coming off unless you take the whole hub apart, I think, which you're probably not going to do when it's off the car very easily, to get in there and undo the giant nut in there, I think it is. So yeah, I think I might give up on that. I suppose, I don't know, with these, yeah, I should have looked and realised there's obviously no way that's going to come off, because it goes all the way around the hub. So yeah, it's obviously not going to come off, is it? What donut? Yeah, I don't know, I'm not going to be able to even soak any of this, I don't think, because I've still got the ABS sensor attached. Because I couldn't get it out one side, so I just gave up and thought I'll just leave it in. So yeah, it's probably not a good idea to soak that in a bucket of vapor rust. So I think I'll have to tidy this up by hand, treat it as much as I can. Oh well, there we are. I tried and I failed. Right, so it's a nice sunny Friday afternoon. Instead of being outside, I thought I'd spend a couple of hours, see if I can get the old, actually finally get the beam off. Trying to free the brake pipes and lines from the beam. Okay, so this is what I've done. I had to improvise. So that one undid alright. That was 10mm. I just got a bit of silicone hose and I've wedged the screw cap from a silicone tube. So on the lid's off that, so I've wedged that in that side. It seemed to fill it up, and then this side fit on nice. You have to get a good tight snug fit, otherwise it'll keep dripping. Pinged off the clip, which wasn't too bad. I just used a small pry bar. You've only so much room you've got in there. Just kept working each side until it came off. Actually got some new ones coming, so we'll get some nice shiny ones on. And then I had a little wiggle, and then that seems to hopefully want to come out. So yeah, it's rusted to buggery on the outside. So yeah, there's that one off. That brake caliper can actually come off now. Hopefully better start refurbishing that this weekend. I need to go and do the other side. I've left that one attached at the moment. I need to get under, that's attached by a bracket, so I need to unbolt that bracket, so that should be free. And the right hand side should hopefully be free of everything. This is, I've loosened this shock absorber bolt already. Oh no, I've taken it out actually. I tell a lie. So, and I've loosened these, so should in theory be good to go. Alright, so we've got the calipers off. I'm going to need a good lot of cleaning and de-rusting. Actually a fair bit of pads on them, which is nice. Alright, so both the bolts are out. There's those bad boys. It's a real pain in the ass to get the head of the bolt past this here. I can't quite see how you get it off. I tried prying a little bit, but I thought it was getting to the stage where my pry bar was going to probably make a hole in the wheel arch. I managed to just get it past this bit here. So it looks like I got eye-back lowering springs. Not sure what the 3113 is. So I have to have a little Google to see what they mean. Obviously know what the FN2 means. Otherwise I'd be a right numpty. And there we go. The beam is out. A little bit of a struggle on your own. So you can see I've left this pipe on. I've undone it, but because this was disconnected, I didn't need to undo this one while still on the car. I can just do it once it's off. What can we say? I mean, it's pretty corroded like you'd expect. I probably could have refurbished it, but I just couldn't be asked. I'll put the new one on, then I might refurbish this one another time, and I've got a spare one where I can sell it. I think these bits are the worst, where the hub's attached. There's the exhaust, the back box. Be a good time to put a new back box on, actually, wouldn't it? Well, a bit warm out there. So I think I'm going to try and compare the new beam with the old one. Just try and take some measurements, make sure it's the same size. So I've recently just gone over 250 subscribers, so I just want to say a big thank you for everyone that's subscribed. It means a lot to me. I mean, I do this just because I enjoy it, but to actually get people subscribing is really cool. So yeah, big thanks for that.